quick play the ball. Starling out of dummy half, keeps them guessing. Tommy Starling across to Smithies.
And another crack.
Another crack at them. 3 metres away from the line. Starling, look out. Fogarty, ball with typical. Back there for Weeks. Unloaded for Savage. He's got over, I reckon. He's prepared to go outside the field of play and come in the side door.
In. There you go.
The side door, the one to the laundry. That's it.
They play it for the Dragons. Flanagan,
6-0. Really enjoyable first half. Surly with it. Now on to Sloan. The Dragons, what a swing in the game. From disallowed try one end to Dragons try the other. Penalty right in front. They can kick for 6-all, or they can keep the attack on. So there it is. Scores locked here. Goal levelling play. Flanagan's kick. Bit of pressure here. A lot of Dragons jerseys there. Bit of pressure here. Look at Weeks. Look at Weeks. That is a mesmerising pick up and run. We have a new fastest man on the planet. It may be Kyo Weeks. Starling with it. On to Smithies. Mooney back for Fogarty. Now on to Weeks. On to Typical. The Raiders. The Raiders. There's the kick. Typical. Will it stay? Oh! It's gone through the legs of Xavier Savage. Dragons find themselves defending inside the 20. Happened many times in the first half. Mooney. Fogarty right across. Raiders with Weeks. He's over again. Kyo Weeks. Last tackle play. There's going to be a threatening kick coming. Fogarty just running the show off his right boot. It's there again. It's not gonna press. And Morgan Smithies is first. He's first in the NRL. And they're cheering from the other side of the world. Last tackle. Dragons. King Talia. Flanagan kick from the short side. He's got it to come down 5 minutes out. Play on Dragons. Allen ends up with it. Still play on. Cook turn and pass. Flanagan goes long. Chance on the right. Sewer. A kick on the angle. Stewart loses it. Loses it a second time. And the Dragons have scored.
Jaden Sewer the man.
So pretty good set, Dragons.
Yes. Another good set.
Flanagan long and high. And chasing. Cook went down there on Weeks. You don't want to miss him. He might give you a second chance. He's beaten on the Dragons.
Oh, no
he
way.
beat Jared Sutton. He's beaten everyone. They're chasing. Little was magnificent. Weeks has still got there for a hat-trick. Kyo Weeks. All right, St George Illawarra now into the last 15 minutes. They will try the trick shot. Gutherson over the top. Sloaner's got speed. Sloaner's got the bounce. Now it's Sloan v Weeks. And Sloan burns him. Dragons with a trick shot. I'll stand and applaud that. I don't think their fans would mind them having a real red-hot crack here. DeBellin, Flanagan, Gutherson, Surly. On to Sloan. Speed again. Sloan kicks back in field. Here comes Flanagan. And got the bounce. Another champagne try in Canberra. It's now or never. 90 seconds to go. Flanagan, charge of the Light Brigade. Gutherson there. Ball may have been off a Dragon. Not sure. What's referee Sutton going to rule?
On Dragons in the air.
David Clemmer is placed on report.
Okay, David.
For this. And now Sinbin. What a night. Canberra 28, St George Illawarra 24.
To come so close, really.
Yeah, well, we're a proud club, strong group, and Canberra a good side, and we fought back and should have won without a doubt.
You said to me in the pre-game, you had one player left in your top 30. Obviously, you're not using it as an excuse. Like you said that you should have won, but it really does show that they're playing with a lot of grit and character, considering the list of injuries that you do have.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about list of injuries or the players that we got out. I'm talking about the players that were out there. Where, as I said, whoever puts that jersey on just goes out and does the job, and they did that tonight. And as I said, I thought we should have won. Lucky the rules are changing related to press conferences because I'd be paying a fine.
Is that in regards to the pass?
You know exactly what it's about. Everyone knows it's there, what was there, and it's tough. Well, when you're a side flying high like the Raiders, you probably see that they get the bounce of the ball and they deserve it that's because we're at the top of the table. And when you're where we're at the middle of the table, sometimes you feel that you just don't get the rub of the green sometimes. So it's a tough one. And, in the end, that's the difference.
Tyrell Sloan tonight. How did you feel his game was at?
Well, that's what we know he can do. Speed and finishing. There was another little moment there where I would have liked him to tidy up. Resulted in a try to the opposition, but he showed some real class to score 2 tries.
Cookie, it looked to be slipping away from you guys out there for a little bit. How do you, as one of the leaders out there, sort of rattle the boys together to bring it to the close finish that we all just saw?
Yeah, I think we all knew our game plan was working. It's just we were probably shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit, coming out of yardage, especially in the first 20, put ourselves under a lot of pressure. But obviously they flew out of the blocks second half, got a couple of tries, but once we got into the set for set, we're making really good metres, and we knew we had the time to. The way the game's going at the moment, momentum's a big thing, and we knew we had time on our hands, and we did. We just didn't get it at the end.
Did the booing from the crowd towards Kyle a spur on the team at all?
Never heard it. What would the crowd be booing Kyle for?
Just kicking the conversion early in the game. They were quite passionate this game.
Well, I think they do that. That's good on. That's going to happen everywhere.
What is this sort of, the win last week and then this week, but you came so close, but you should have won it. I suppose the back end of the season, where do you sort of see it from here? Like you're still right in that mix of that middle of the
Well,
table.
if we had that attitude and that commitment week in, week out, we're going to win a lot more games on the way home. So they're number one. And as I said, we just need to roll that commitment over. We had a good win last week. We come down here and play the competition leaders, and as I said, could have, should have, would have won. We didn't because a few things, and I respect Ricky and the Raiders. They hung in there, and that's what good sides do. But we've just got to stick at it for the rest of the year.
Do you feel like the forward stepped up that you asked them to do for the game?
Yeah, I thought everyone stepped up. I thought everyone had some moments. We had some not so good ones, and we had some really good ones. And we put ourselves in the game.
Well, Ricky, that would have been a great celebration in there for the guys, I suppose. What did you make of that 80 minutes, and I suppose how's your heart rate towards the back end?
Yeah, it's not fun watching those types of games. I mean, we got to a bit of a lead, and then I don't know if respectfully, if you guys understand, we're playing against a football team that's so desperate playing for this season. They've got some good footy players in that team. They've scored a couple of nice tries off a kick. A couple of kicks, one over Jed's head, one over close to the goal line there, and it's hard playing against a footy team like that are attacking so well, and they're getting the bounce of the ball. But yet then we scored a couple of long range tries. It's one of those games that we found a way to win it.
Kyle Weeks, so he opened up that. He was 2 guys ahead before you went into the break. I think he looking at 284 run metres, 3 tries, 10 tackle busts. Like, is that one of the best performances you've seen from your fullback?
Well, if it's not, it's up there. I think it was the moments that Kaio created for us. The one just before half time. Then again, the 2 tackle breaks. I mean, they had players in positions to make those tackles. That's not a lucky try. They had players in positions to make those tackles on Kai on their kick chase. So, that comes back to poor ability in missing those tackles, and great ability in regards to Kai being strong at the line and finding the space. But then he had a lot of work to do. He still had 55, 60 metres to go, and he beat Gutherson's tackle and got there in the end. That was, from an individual piece of brilliance, that was right up there. And he's a he just takes our team to another level.
Do you see that often at training? Is that something that he's continually working on, or is it flexibility, or is he doing stuff that you're seeing as a coach that you admire?
It's a good question, because at the start of the season, when we get written off that we're going to be the wooden spooners, not one of those self-confessed experts come to our training and have a look at what we do. not one of those self-confessed experts come to our training and see what players we've got in certain positions and their skill and their ability. I was that confident we were going to be a good team this year. No, I didn't think we were going to be where we are today. But their hard work, commitment, our leadership, their buy-in has got us in a healthy position at the moment. But we don't take it for granted. We just keep working hard. The Kaya Weeks, Sav, Matty Tomoko and Sebi Chris, a number of those younger players. We know what the Joe Taps, Hudson's, Papas, Corey's can do. Tommy Starling. I mean, Tommy Starling's playing his best year of his career. I see that. So that gives me belief and confidence going into the season. That's why I'm not. This doesn't surprise me in regards to how we're winning games.
Jamal's kicking game tonight, particularly that torpedo. Clint couldn't catch it. He said he learned it off you work directly with him in his kicking game.
And Andrew Bishop does his kicking and all the execution and technique. I talk to him about the strategy of kicking, and I always want my players to be able to spiral and or push floaters in. And you know, many times I've had players will practice it, and I'll say, I don't want you to practice it anymore because you don't put it into the game. Jamal does. You got to have courage to be able to kick a spiral or a floater, because you've got a great. There's also a percentage of it goes over the sideline on the full. I don't care if it goes over the full on the sideline on the full. I want them to show the courage.
Perhaps Corey Horsburgh tonight in that forward pack alongside yourself. How did you think he went out there in what is it, big role to fill in Papa Lee's spot?
Yeah, I think he was solid. I think a couple of the young boys like Trey stepped up as well, Utter. They got challenged at half time to come out and start the second half good, and I thought they'd done that. And yeah, certain patch we probably let off, but like I say every week, it's a work on.
How does it feel to be outright 2 points ahead of the comp at this point? Your coach said you had belief. You still got to buy up your sleeve to come, and two left rather. So how does that sort of feel and sit with you as a leader?
Yeah, it's nice. Going into the bye as well. Spend some nice time with the family and kick back and get a couple of days away from footy, refresh everyone and come back in ready to do the job on the back end.
Joe, how are you after the hip drop? It looked a bit awkward and you came off a bit afterwards. How are you?
Nah, I'm alright. Yeah, all good. Yeah, just got a nice little rest there one stick, and I wasn't too fast. The finger was a bit bothering me a bit this week, but I got a nice little rest and finished the game a bit.
Gives a good opportunity too. You know, when we got out to a lead, to give some of those boys, Trey, Utter, Owen, to give them some minutes, because you know I'll look at how a Coop can get the minutes, how even pushing a couple of them back to cup at some stage, because going into the back end of the year they need to have minutes in case there's a situation of they've got to go out and play 50 or 60. But they're wonderful. Those younger players, if you have a look at the average age of our team out there with 20 to go, it would be very, very young.
So Ricky, you just mentioned there the Dragons fighting for their spot there. Do you put it more on them being that desperate play, that really, you know, roll the dice type play, or was it more you guys kind of taking foot off the pedal a bit there at the back end?
Where do you reckon we took the foot off the pedal?
Sorry, poor choice of words.
Yeah, and probably poor question too when you asked Shane about his son. I think it's a disgrace how you guys in the media are just absolutely bashing a kid publicly. I said, you guys in the media. And you asked a question there about his booing. I mean, they're like, honestly, I've got a son playing, and that's my biggest fear. You people. Not him, but the media. The way he's been portrayed in the media at the moment, that poor kid, and I went up to him and I grabbed him after the game and took him aside and spoke to him. I've known him since he's been a little boy. He was the lead tonight. He led the charge in regards to getting that team back into that game. I think it's a disgrace what his so-called supporters, the so-called Dragon supporters, the social media, the bullshit that he has to listen to and cop. It is it's something I just don't like. He's a better football player than he's been given credit for. The way that boy has handled that from a mental point of view to being able to turn up every week. And he said, I'm tough enough, I'll handle it. I know he is. But it's awful. He led the charge for that team tonight, and they nearly come back on the back of him winning that game.
It becomes almost more than just footy, isn't it? It's not about footy at the end of the day when it becomes this sort of...
It becomes a game. It becomes a game for the media reporting what social media says. You got to have a look at some of these people who are actually being... It'd be torture for his mother. I know his old man will handle it, but it'd be torture for his mother and his sisters. You imagine if it was one of yours. That's when it becomes real.
So what do you say to the Raiders fans that were booing you quite loudly?
Were they all Raiders fans, were they?
It was coming from outside of the stand, it seemed that way.
They always boo a goal kicker. How many games do you go to? They always, I want them to boo their goal kicker.
Okay.
I want our Raiders fans, they can throw cans at him for all I care. I want them to boo a bloody goal kicker. That's their job. I've been out at Seaford Oval where the cars were there, and when there wasn't a car there blowing a horn at the bloody opposition goal kicker. Anyhow, thank you.